I also want to briefly touch on something that often gets overlooked in conversations about cancer prevention. Your lifestyle beyond food matters enormously. Chronic sleep deprivation impairs immune surveillance, the very system responsible for catching and eliminating rogue cells before they become dangerous. Chronic stress elevates cortisol and promotes inflammation, creating conditions that favor abnormal cell growth. Regular physical activity, on the other hand, has been shown to improve immune function, reduce inflammatory markers, and even directly reduce cancer risk across multiple tumor types. These are not soft lifestyle suggestions, they are biologically meaningful interventions. But within the domain of food, broccoli and its cruciferous family members occupy a uniquely well-studied and well-supported position. The depth of research, the consistency of findings across different cancer types, the multiple mechanisms of action, and the accessibility of the food itself make it stand out. I want to step back for a moment and speak to you directly about why this matters to me personally as a physician. Cancer is a word that carries enormous fear, and that fear is completely understandable given what the disease can do. But I have always believed that one of the most important things I can do as a doctor is to give people back a sense of agency, to show them that their body is not a passive participant in their health story. Your body is actively, constantly working to protect you. And when you give it the right tools, the right foods, the right environment, the right habits, it can do things that we are only beginning to fully appreciate scientifically. The fact that a food as simple and inexpensive as broccoli can activate more than 200 protective genes, target cancer stem cells, help clear carcinogens, and support your gut's role in immune regulation, that is not a small thing. That is biology working exactly as it is designed to. You are not helpless in the face of cancer. Risk. You have more influence over this than most people realize. The research on sulforaphane and cancer is ongoing. Clinical trials are examining whether sulforaphane supplementation can prevent cancer recurrence in high-risk populations, reduce PSA levels in prostate cancer patients, and support standard treatments in various cancer settings. The results so far are promising, and the scientific community is paying close attention. But what is already clear from decades of epidemiological and laboratory research is that people who regularly eat cruciferous vegetables, and broccoli in particular, have meaningfully lower rates of multiple cancers compared to people who eat little of these foods. A large meta-analysis examining data from dozens of studies found that high cruciferous vegetable intake was associated with significantly reduced risk of lung, colorectal, breast, prostate, and stomach cancers. These are population-level findings, which means they reflect real patterns in real human beings, not just cells in a dish. The evidence is strong enough that major cancer research organizations include cruciferous vegetables prominently in their dietary prevention guidelines. So the practical message is this: make broccoli a regular, meaningful part of your diet. Lightly steam it to preserve the enzyme activity, or eat some of it raw. Consider adding broccoli sprouts for a concentrated boost. Pair it with a varied, colorful, whole food diet that supports all of your body's natural defense systems. Prioritize sleep, manage stress, and stay physically active. And understand that every choice you make in this direction is one that your body's own biology is equipped to build upon. Your cells are listening to what you eat every single day. The compounds in broccoli speak to your cells in a language that activates protection, resilience, and the remarkable capacity for your body to find and eliminate threats before they become crises. That is a profound thing to understand, and it is entirely within your reach to act on. I want to hear from you. Has broccoli already been a regular part of your diet, or is this new information that is changing how you think about what you eat? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I genuinely read them, and your perspective helps shape what we cover next on this channel. If you found this valuable, please share it with someone you care about, a family member, a friend, someone who has been touched by cancer or who is thinking about their long-term health. This kind of information deserves to reach people who need it, and you sharing it is how that happens. And if you are not yet subscribed to BioSecrets, now is a good time. This is the kind of science-backed, honest health content we are committed to bringing you, and there is much more to come. Take care of yourself. Your body is working hard on your behalf every single day. Give it what it needs to keep winning. There is a moment that happens inside your body every single day that most people never think about. Right now, as you are watching this, your immune system is quietly hunting down cells that have begun to grow in the wrong way. Cells that have lost their normal programming. Cells that, if left alone, could eventually become something dangerous, and most of the time, your body wins that battle without you ever knowing it happened. But here is the part that changes everything. Whether your body wins that battle consistently, day after day, for decades, depends enormously on what you put on your plate. I want to talk to you today about one specific food that has captured the attention of cancer researchers around the world. Not a supplement, not an expensive extract, a real food, one that most people walk past in the grocery store without giving it a second thought. And when you understand what it does at the cellular level, I think you will never look at it the same way again. My name is Dr. William Lee. I am a physician and scientist, and I have spent the better part of my career studying how the body fights disease, particularly how food interacts with our biology in ways that can either protect us or put us at risk. I have worked with leading institutions, contributed to research on angiogenesis and cancer, and written extensively about the science of healing through what we eat. And what I am going to share with you today is not speculation. It is grounded in real biology and real scientific investigation. If you are new here, this channel BioSecrets is where we break down the science of your health in ways that are honest, clear, and actually useful. If that matters to you, consider subscribing. We release new content regularly, and the information here could genuinely change how you think about your own body. Now, let me start with something that might surprise you. Most people think about cancer as something that suddenly appears, like a storm that comes out of nowhere. One day you feel fine, the next you receive a diagnosis, and it feels like your body betrayed you without warning. That is a deeply understandable way to experience it, but the biology tells a very different story. Cancer does not appear suddenly. It develops slowly, silently, over months and often years, sometimes even decades. Before a tumor becomes detectable, before any symptoms arise, there is a long period of cellular behavior happening beneath the surface. Cells divide, some of them accumulate errors in their DNA, and a small number of those cells begin to behave abnormally. This process is called oncogenesis, and it is happening in everyone to varying degrees throughout life. Here is the critical insight that most health conversations miss. There is a window, actually a very long window, during which your body has powerful tools to stop those abnormal cells before they ever become a real threat. Your immune system, certain signaling molecules, and even specific compounds found in food can identify and destroy these early rogue cells before they gain momentum. The question is whether those protective systems are strong enough and well supported enough to do their job. And that is exactly where food comes into the picture. Specifically, one food that researchers have studied with remarkable depth, that food is broccoli. Now, before you tune out because you have heard vegetables are good for you 1,000 times, stay with me, because what I am about to explain goes far beyond general nutrition advice. This is about specific molecular mechanisms, specific compounds found in broccoli that have been shown in laboratory, animal, and human studies too. Target cancer cells in ways that are genuinely remarkable, and understanding how this works will change the way you think about prevention entirely. Broccoli belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, which also includes cauliflower, kale, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. But broccoli stands out among this group because of the concentration of a particular group of compounds it contains. These compounds are called glucosinolates, and they are the key to understanding why this vegetable has attracted so much scientific attention in the context of cancer research. Here is how it works. Inside the cells of broccoli, there are two components that are stored separately: glucosinolates and an enzyme called myrosinase. When you chew broccoli, you break apart the plant cell walls, and these two components come into contact with each other. A chemical reaction occurs, and the result is a compound called sulforaphane. This is where things get incredibly interesting. Sulforaphane is what scientists call a bioactive compound. That means it is biologically active inside your body. It does not just pass through you. It actually interacts with your cells and changes how they behave. And what sulforaphane does inside human cells is something that researchers have been studying with growing excitement for more than 30 years. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine your cells as having an internal alarm system. This alarm system is designed to detect when something is going wrong, when DNA is being damaged, when oxidative stress is building up, when abnormal cell growth is beginning. In healthy, well-supported cells, this alarm system is sensitive and responsive. It catches problems early and triggers the right responses. Sulforaphane activates a master regulator of this alarm system. The technical name is NRF2, short for nuclear factor erythroid to related factor 2. You do not need to memorize that. What matters is what it does. NRF2 is essentially a switch inside your cells that, when activated, turns on over 200 protective genes. Simultaneously, these genes produce antioxidant enzymes, detoxification proteins, and anti-inflammatory compounds that work together to protect your DNA and neutralize threats before they become dangerous. Think of it this way. If your cell is a city, NRF2 is the emergency management system. When sulforaphane activates it, it is like calling in every defense team at once: the fire department, the hazmat crew, the repair teams, all working together to keep the city safe. And this activation happens in direct response to the sulforaphane from broccoli entering your system. Now, here is where the cancer connection becomes direct and specific. One of the most important things that sulforaphane does is interact with cancer stem cells. This is a concept that is central to understanding why some cancers are so difficult to treat once they develop. Cancer stem cells are a small population of cells within a tumor that have an extraordinary ability. They can self-renew, meaning they generate new cancer cells continuously. They are also notably resistant to conventional treatments like chemotherapy and radiation. Many researchers believe that cancer stem cells are responsible for cancer recurrence after treatment. What multiple laboratory and preclinical studies have found is that sulforaphane specifically targets these cancer stem cells and disrupts their self-renewal process. Research published in respected oncology journals has shown that sulforaphane can reduce the ability of cancer stem cells to form new tumors, push them toward normal cell death processes, and even interfere with the signaling pathways that allow them to survive. This is not a general antioxidant effect. This is targeted, specific cellular interaction. One particularly striking area of research involves breast cancer. Studies examining breast cancer stem cells have found that sulforaphane can dramatically reduce their ability to reseed new tumors. Research published in Clinical Cancer Research showed that sulforaphane reduced breast cancer stem cells by up to 65% in laboratory models, and the effect was dose-dependent, meaning more sulforaphane, more impact. These are early findings, and science always requires time and replication, but the consistency of results across multiple research groups is notable. Similar findings have emerged in studies involving prostate cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, and lung cancer. In each case, researchers identified sulforaphane as having meaningful effects on cancer cell behavior, inducing apoptosis, which is the controlled, programmed death of abnormal cells, inhibiting cancer cell migration, and reducing the signaling that allows cancer cells to multiply unchecked. But here is what I find most compelling from a prevention standpoint. Sulforaphane does not only work on established cancer cells, it works upstream before cancer has a chance to take root. It supports the body's own ability to detoxify carcinogens, which are cancer-causing chemicals that enter the body through food, air, water, and other environmental exposures. By activating those detoxification enzymes we mentioned earlier, sulforaphane helps your body neutralize these carcinogens before they have a chance to damage your DNA and set the cancer process in motion. This is prevention at the most fundamental level, not blocking a symptom, not managing a disease, actually reducing the likelihood that the cellular mistakes leading to cancer get a chance to accumulate in the first place. Now let me introduce another layer to this story, because broccoli's anti-cancer effects do not stop with sulforaphane. Broccoli also contains a compound called indole-3-carbinol, or I3C, when you eat broccoli and it reaches your stomach. I3C is converted into another compound called diindolylmethane, commonly known as DIM. Both I3C and DIM have been studied extensively in relation to hormone-sensitive cancers, particularly breast cancer, prostate cancer, cervical cancer, and uterine cancer. What these compounds do is influence how the body metabolizes estrogen. Estrogen is not a single molecule. It is processed by your body into several different metabolites, some of which are associated with increased cancer risk and some of which are protective. I3C and DIM shift the balance toward the protective metabolites. Research in humans has shown that people who consume cruciferous vegetables regularly have different estrogen metabolite profiles, ones associated with lower cancer risk compared to people who eat fewer of these vegetables. This is relevant for both women and men. Estrogen metabolism matters for prostate cancer risk as well, and the protective effects of these compounds are being studied across multiple cancer types. There is also a third mechanism worth understanding. Broccoli is a rich source of compounds that support a healthy gut microbiome, and this connection to cancer risk is one of the most fascinating areas of current research in oncology. Your gut is home to trillions of bacteria, and these microorganisms are deeply involved in regulating inflammation, immune function, and even gene expression. A diverse, well-balanced microbiome produces compounds called short-chain fatty acids that help maintain the integrity of the gut lining, regulate immune surveillance, and reduce systemic inflammation, all of which are important factors in cancer prevention. Chronic inflammation, in particular, is recognized as one of the major drivers of cancer development. When your body is in a constant state of low-grade inflammation, the cellular environment becomes one that is more permissive to abnormal cell growth. Broccoli's fiber content, along with its prebiotic properties, feeds beneficial bacteria that help keep inflammation in check, and the sulforaphane itself has direct anti-inflammatory effects, inhibiting a protein called N-FIFA-KB, which is one of the main molecular switches that drives inflammatory gene expression. So what you have with broccoli is not one single trick. It is a symphony of biological effects: NRF2 activation, cancer stem cell disruption, carcinogen detoxification, estrogen metabolism support, microbiome nourishment, and inflammation reduction, all working together, all from one food. Now let me address something important, because this is where practical reality comes in. Not all broccoli is equal in terms of sulforaphane content, and how you prepare broccoli makes an enormous difference in whether you actually get the benefit. The key issue is that enzyme myrosinase that converts glucosinolates into sulforaphane, heat destroys myrosinase. So if you boil broccoli for a long time or microwave it at high temperatures, you lose a significant portion of the sulforaphane generating capacity. Studies have measured sulforaphane content in various cooking methods and found that boiling can reduce it by 70% or more compared to raw or lightly cooked broccoli. The good news is that this is easy to work around. Lightly steaming broccoli for about 3 to 4 minutes preserves much of the enzyme activity while making the vegetable easier to digest. Alternatively, chopping or chewing raw broccoli thoroughly allows the enzyme reaction to happen fully before cooking. Some people add raw mustard, seed powder, or radish powder to cooked broccoli because these contain active myrosinase that can restore some of the conversion ability even after the broccoli itself has been heated. Broccoli sprouts are another exceptionally powerful option. Research pioneered by Dr. Paul Talalay and his colleagues at Johns Hopkins University showed that 3-day-old broccoli sprouts contain 10 to 100 times more glucoraphanin, the precursor to sulforaphane, than mature broccoli. A small amount of broccoli sprouts added to a salad, a wrap, or blended into a smoothie can deliver a concentrated dose of the precursor compounds. They are widely available in health food stores and are easy to grow at home. The research on broccoli sprouts specifically is quite compelling. In a human study conducted in China in a region with high levels of air pollution, participants who drank a broccoli sprout beverage daily showed significantly increased excretion of benzene and acrolein, two known carcinogens, compared to participants who received a placebo. This demonstrated directly in living humans that sulforaphane-producing compounds from broccoli are actively helping the body remove cancer-causing chemicals. That is not a laboratory Petri dish result. That is a measurable protective effect in real people. So how much broccoli should you be eating? While there is no single universally prescribed amount, the research suggests that eating cruciferous vegetables with broccoli as a centerpiece 3 to 5 times per week provides meaningful protective levels of these compounds. Roughly half a cup to a full cup of broccoli per serving is a reasonable and practical target. If you incorporate broccoli sprouts, even a small handful a few times per week adds significant value. The consistency matters more than perfection. Building broccoli into your regular eating pattern, not as an occasional side dish, but as a genuine dietary staple, is what the research supports over the long term. And here is something I want you to understand about the bigger picture, because broccoli does not work in isolation. It works best as part of a dietary pattern that supports all of the body's cancer-fighting systems simultaneously. Your body has what I describe as 5 natural health defenses: angiogenesis, regeneration through stem cells, the microbiome, DNA protection, and immune surveillance. Cancer can exploit weaknesses in any one of these systems, and the foods that are most protective tend to support multiple systems at once. Broccoli is exceptional because it addresses several of them directly, but pairing it with a broader pattern of whole, minimally processed foods, deeply colored vegetables, legumes, fermented foods, healthy fats, and low amounts of refined sugar and processed meat creates a biological environment where cancer cells have an extraordinarily difficult time gaining a foothold.